Hello and welcome to EV Car Share. So slightly dull morning this morning. We're in December, it's still relatively early. This is kind of a video before work sort of time. So I'm afraid lighting's not great, but hopefully it'll be enough. What I want to show you today is some more things around the interior of the car to do with the controls, and we're talking buttons. And we're talking in particular those buttons that have a dual function via a long press. So just before we start, give you an update on my breakfast. I have a free coffee from Greg's, courtesy of Octopus Energy, my energy supplier, so thank you very much. And this time, instead of having my Greg's sausage roll or something from Greg's, I've also been to McDonald's because they've got an Advent offer on, and I managed to get myself a McMuffin for 99p. So 99p McMuffin, free coffee, it's good. I'm happy with that. So as I say, looking at things you can long press for a second function within the car. So there's been a lot of talk over recent years about cars being developed with touchscreens and how having functions deep in the menu system of a touchscreen is not very useful, and it's fairly dangerous if you're driving and trying to find the right function and all that sort of stuff. Now the Kia EV6, like I'm driving, this is the 22 model, it has a big touchscreen. I like the big touchscreen. There's lots you can do on it, but it doesn't forego having buttons as well. So it has buttons on the steering wheel. It has a panel beneath the touchscreen, which I'm classing as buttons there. It's a screen panel, so I'm going to call them soft buttons. So I'm going to call these ones on the steering wheel, ones that click in and out, as hard buttons, and the ones that can change depending on the software as soft buttons. But I'm still referring them to as buttons. Up to you what you prefer. And then there's buttons for the seats, the heated seats, and for the heated steering wheel and that sort of thing as well. But some of these buttons have multiple functions. You can press them once for one function, you can press them and hold them for another function. And that's what I'm going to go through today. So I'm going to grab my other camera and turn that on, and we'll talk you through a few. So first of all, this is the steering wheel, this is the dashboard display, and the most important button for me every time I get in the car is this one down here with a little steering wheel and two lines either side. And this is the one that controls your lane keep and your lane assist or lane follow. Lane keep assist and lane follow assist, that's what they're called, LKA and LFA. So on screen here, you'll see this icon here, which is a car in between two lines. So as if it's driving down the road in a lane. And that is your lane keep assist. So lane keep assist is a function that prevents the car from leaving the lane. So the idea being that if you're tired and you swerve, it will stop you going out of the lane. It will knock you back into the lane. It doesn't follow the lane, it's not self-driving, it's just a safety function, and it's extremely annoying, really annoying. And unfortunately, due to EU and also UK rules, no good blaming the EU anymore. We've Brexited, we could change our rules independently, but of course we don't. We keep everything the same, which makes leaving completely pointless, but that's another subject anyway. So we have this icon here, and as I say, it's really annoying. It turns on every time you start the car. It's not Kia's fault, it's the rules and regulations fault. But fortunately, Kia have added the ability via this button to turn it off without having to go through all the menus. So what we can do is we can long press that button for a couple of seconds, and you'll see that icon has gone off. Now the short press option on that button is the lane follow. So if you short press that one, you'll see that this icon's come on, which is the self-drive lane follow. You'll see it's grey at the moment, that's because it's not active. It will need me to be driving to become active, and it will pick up the lane, and once it's picked up the lane and able to follow, then it'll be green. Really useful when you're on long journeys, particularly on motorways, dual carriageways where there's really well defined lanes. Obviously if you're down a little country lane and the lane markings are not so well defined, you won't get such a good use of it, but really useful. I like to use it on long journeys. Up to you what you choose to do, of course, but I think that's a good function. So that's the short press on that same button. Now, according to the latest update that I had in August, the mute button can be long pressed to change the warning signals from the car with regard to I think it's with regard to speed limits and things like that. I've not managed to get that to work, so I don't know whether that works or not. It's in the, I've seen it written, but feel free to give that one a go. But for me, that doesn't actually do anything. So that's a long press. That's not a great long press. Other things we can long press. So down on the touch display down here, you may be familiar that you can toggle between the media showing, the media buttons and the HVAC buttons. Toggle between those like that. If you long press that button that toggles, then you get a setting change. So you can see here it says return to the selected display when the other display times out. Now I have this function turned off, but I could have this function set to say climate, and then when I toggle to the media setting and then I don't use it, it toggles back to the climate for me. So that if I've changed to that, done something here, pressed something, and then not want to have to go back and press it to go back, then it just switches back to climate like that. Now I have it turned off because personally I would much rather the screen do what I want to do rather than doing things for me in this case. Obviously, as you choose. If I go to that media display, then one of the other things we can long press is this star button. So the star button is one of the shortcuts, and if we long press the shortcut, then it brings you up into your options for that shortcut. So you can see I have that option set as phone projection, but you can also have it shortcut you to Kia Connect, to quiet mode, to the display on off. That means this big display up top. Kia Live, you have it do nothing. You can also, above that, use that shortcut for your phone, for utility mode. I've had that sometimes. Driver assistant settings, Bluetooth audio, home, and also the EV information. So you can use that button as a shortcut, and pressing and holding that button allows you to choose what that shortcut is going to be, which is quite useful. So I will toggle back on that, and I will go home on that one. In a similar way, on the steering wheel you have another couple of adjustable buttons. So over here we have a star button. If you press and hold that star button, that takes you into a similar menu on the screen where you can choose what the star button does. Now I have mine taking me to the map, so I use the Kia sat nav quite consistently, and so the map is quite useful. It can also take you to make it recalculate the routes. It can make it cancel the routes. It can turn on and off your radio or media. You can put your car into quiet mode. That's to allow kids in the back to sleep. It basically puts all of the music just to the driver, who presumably isn't asleep, obviously. And then you can go to the EV screen, you can go to driver assistance, or you can just turn it off. Above that you can go to home, you can do a voice memo, you can go to privacy mode, you can change your hands-free device, and you can use it to reject or end a call. As I say, I have it as map. So let's go home again off that. Other buttons on here you can long press. So the mode button here allows you to toggle between different audio sources. So maybe you toggle between radio and your phone projection, i.e. CarPlay or Android Auto. Maybe you toggle between not just radio but the USB stick or whatever. So these are the different functionalities, and as you press it, it loops through one, then the next, then the next, then the next. But if we long press that button, that's when we get the things that it can loop through. So here I have it looping between the phone projection and the DAB FM radio. Those are the two things that I listen to when I'm in the car. Through the phone projection, I'll often listen to Spotify, and then the radio, obviously radio. But you can add in there the Bluetooth audio, you can add in music via USB stick. You can even add in the sounds of nature function in the car, which gives you like the forest sound and rainstorms and things like that. It's quite cool, but I don't tend to use that. I can find that manually if I want to. For the odd occasion I use it. So my common ones are phone projection and the DAB radio. And so when I press that mode button, it will then just toggle through those two functions for me, which is neat. There are long press functions with regard to the regen paddles, but I don't want to go through those today. I want to leave regen for a completely different topic, and probably the same for drive mode down here. I'll probably do a separate topic on that, but I'll show you that one now anyway. So drive mode toggles between eco, normal and sport in just the single press, and then if you press and long press, you'll see on screen here it says snow. So that takes me into the snow mode, and you'll see down here on the dash it says snow as well. So that's the snow mode. In the UK, certainly where I live, snow is very rare. So far I've never driven this car in snow. I've had it over 2 years now, and I've never had the ability or need to change to snow mode. It changes the delivery of power to the wheels such that you're less likely to slip in snow. Obviously it doesn't give you any more grip. That's to do with which tyres you've got fitted. I always drive with summer tyres because, as I say, we never really get proper winter anymore here in this part of the UK, so I don't need it. So I will generally drive in eco, normal or sports, depending on my needs. So that really is all I wanted to show you on this video. It's another short one, another quick one. I like to keep these pretty quick. I know people don't like to watch lots of chatting and lots of kind of sitting there going, come on, get on with it. So I like to keep these quick. So hopefully that has been useful to you. Hopefully you've seen something and go, oh, I didn't know that. Or you've seen the car, having not bought one yet, and gone, I'm liking this. I'm gonna put that as one of the high ones on my list. Or maybe you're planning to have a test drive in a Kia EV6, and these are useful things to know ahead of your test drive, so you're not spending all your time on the test drive trying to work out how to use the car. You're in fact just able to get straight in, test drive, get a real feel for it and go yay or nay, depending on what you prefer. So drop me a comment down in the comments. Did you know about these functions? Didn't you know about these functions? Has this been useful? I love to hear back. Give the thumbs up to the video if you like the video, and of course if you're enjoying what I'm doing and you like watching these videos, then please subscribe. If you click the notification bell as well with the subscribe, then that will obviously tell you when these videos are released. I think all that's kind of automatic that you can do from your end. I don't think I have to do anything that end. And was there one more? Probably not. So anyway, if you like this video, then great, and hopefully I will get to speak to you next time. Thank you for watching.